Hello everyone, welcome to the first lab of ECE573 Advanced Embedded Logic Design. In the previous lab, we discussed how to deploy your applications on the Zedboard when you have physical access to the Zedboard. Now we'll discuss how to deploy your applications on the Zedboard via remote access. Now here the Zedboard is connected to the network, for example the institute network, so you need to enable your VPN and then you need to deploy your applications on the Zedboard. So I have the Zedboard connected to the network and I'll just ping the Zedboard to see that whether it is active or not. For the Zedboard, we have assigned the particular IP address. The list of the IP address will be shared with you hopefully in the couple of weeks. So for the Zedboard which I am using, the IP address is 192.168 and you can see that I am receiving the ping from the reply from the Zedboard. That means it is active. So on the Zedboard, I have already deployed the Linux system. So what I am going to do via SSH, I am going to copy my applications files on the SD card available on the Zedboard. Once I copy the SD card, once I copy the files available on the Zedboard, I am going to reboot the Zedboard so that next time it will use the files copied by me for the booting purpose. Once this is done, that means my applications, Linux-based application will start running on the Zedboard. Then I can copy or then I can run any applications file or any ELF file on the Zedboard. So to enable this, we need to create a project with the Linux-based system configuration. In the previous video, we used the standalone, but now we need to switch the Linux-based configuration. So I have created the project with the same files. There is no change in the files. Only thing is in the project's configuration, I use the Linux system. Then the build configuration is same as release. Then I'll build the project. Once the build is complete, I'll get the corresponding files. I'll get the corresponding files in the release folder, and you can see that there is a SD card folder where all the files. You can see that there is a bin file, there is a Linux second stage bootloader file available in this project along with the ELF file. So I'll go to the folder of my project. I'll see that the Linux one project. In the Linux one project, in the release folder, you can see that I have the SD card folder and I got this file. Now I have to copy this file on the SD card of the board. Okay. So to do this, what I need to do, I need to use the PSCP command to transfer the file. So make sure that if you are using the Windows, you have the software PuTTY installed on your desktop. And if you are using the Linux Ubuntu, you can use the SCP command. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm first going to copy this one in my system folder so that I'll be easily copy these files in the SD card. So in the system folder, I have the user, and then in the user, I have created the folder called SD card where I'll keep all my files. So I'm deleting all the old files. Now I'm keeping all the original files, new files. Then I'm going to the command prompt. In the command prompt, I'm changing to the SD card. Then in the SD card, I'm going to use the PSCP command. The command format will remain the same. Okay. Then I'm going to copy the 4 files. First is the boot.bin. Okay, then lab 1 linux.elf, that is the application file. Then image.ub. Okay, so we are going to study the boot configuration of the Zynq SoC in the lecture in more detail, and readme.txt, and I'm going to copy this in my Zedboard one. So root at 192.168.2.148. So this command will remain the same. Okay, so I'm getting the error that I'm getting some network error. That means I need to access the board. Okay, so what I'll do the SSH, then root at 192.168.112.148. I should have checked this first. Okay, so there is an issue that with some authentication. So I need to go at this location and delete this line 1 from this file. So I'm going at this location. So you can see in the same location there is a .ssh file. So in this one, I'm deleting the corresponding file. Okay, there will be first line which I'll be deleting it. So I have now deleted it. Hopefully now I should be able to get it. Okay, so now the password is root. Okay, so I'm able to access it. So now I should be able to copy the data as well. So I'm running the same file. Okay, I'm getting the same error, pscp minus p. Okay, so I was able to copy the file. The password is root. So you can see that the files are being copied on the board. So now the files are there on the board. So what I need to do? I need to do the reboot on the board. So I'm doing the reboot. So that next time when the Zedboard power ups, then it will start booting using my files. So you can see that the system is going down. So the board is getting reboot. So I'll wait for a few seconds and then I'll check with the board again. Okay. So let's wait for a few seconds. Hopefully now the rebooting might have been completed. We don't know, we don't have the physical access to the board. So let's ping the board. So it's not yet completed. So we need to do it again. Okay, so it seems that the board is now powered up. So let's do the SSH. Yeah. Okay, so the same issue has happened. No, again we go to this file and remove this corresponding the first line. Again open this file, remove the first line. I have deleted the first line. I have saved the file. Again going back to the command prompt, I'm doing the SSH. Yes, then password is root. Okay, so I'm able to uh, access the board now. Now, once I able to access the board, next thing is I need to execute by corresponding file. So I'll go to the corresponding directory, which is cd_mnt. If I do the ls, you can see that there are a lot of files are there. And what I need to do is that I need to run my file, which is the lab1 linux.elf. So what I need to do, I need to execute this file. Okay, so I'm going to execute my file, which is lab 1 underscore ALF. If I run this file, you can see that immediately the execution has worked, and I was able to run my applications on the board, which is not physically available with me, but it is I am on the same network as that of board, so I was able to access the board. Now, to access such boards in our lab or at our institute, you need to have the IP address. So hopefully in the couple of weeks, we'll share the IP address with you, and then you will be able to replicate the same thing which we have done. As mentioned before, this is the optional part, which you don't need to do it. But if you want to test your algorithms on the board and to get the accurate results of the execution time, this is the method you need to follow. So this completes our first lab, where we have done the introduction of the Zynq SoC, we have done the introduction of the SDSoC, quick emulator, we have implemented the vector multiplication code, we have moved the vector multiplication into the hardware, we have verified it via quick emulation, then we have also understood the debug mode. Then we have studied the two ways of implementing on the hardware. One, when the hardware is physically available with you, and the one when the hardware is not physically with you, but it is connected to the same network as you are. Okay. For you, you may have to use the VPN to access the board. So this completes the lab 1. See you next week for the lab 2.